like a sort of easier thing to do after I had written several scripts that we actually were trying to get made. They were sort of just the budgets were too big, so I sort of decided to write this smaller project. And this was it, yeah.
And Rachel and Andrea, why don't you tell us how you guys first met Weston and how you got involved with the project?
That's actually a crazy story. So Weston was working on a different script at the time. It was 2018, and I just got this random message on Instagram from random man.
Well, no, but we were like,
No, you were following my sister. Different sister, not even her. But he messaged me and said, "Hey, you should audition for my film." And I was like, "That's yeah." And I was like, "That's crazy." So ended up auditioning, hung out along the way, all the way till 2021, and that's when we shot this film. So.
Well, Weston came out to our college town in Manhattan, Kansas. I was never even a part of this until he came to audition Andrea, and we shot a short film, the three of us, and then he was like, maybe I want both of them in my movie. So that progressed to 2021, us filming this film. But we did not actively audition for this, so this all just kind of fell into our lap, which was surreal.
Yeah, I originally auditioned Andrea for a different film, but then I wrote this and I wrote the roles for them. Yeah.
Something I really loved about the film is the tone of the film, and that's comprised of shooting on 16, and the location and the acting, but also sort of the intangibles of how that all kind of comes together, and that it is this adventure fairy tale. So maybe kind of elaborate on how you envision putting all those pieces together to make this not necessarily realistic, but kind of a heightened sense of fantasy, but still grounded,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, tone is super important to me, as most filmmakers, I'm sure, but I really like to get this tone that is equal parts fun, adventure, but also comedy, but also you're taking it seriously up to a certain point. It's not goofy or crazy or anything, and so I don't know. That's sort of what. So I call it a neo fairy tale. Fairy tales are every genre: action, adventure, romance, horror, comedy, and that's definitely what Riddle of Fire is. It's all genres put together, mashed together. Yeah,
absolutely. And why don't you guys talk a little bit about your process of getting into characters and the collaboration, but also with the kids especially, but with your other actors as well.
Well, I feel like for us, it was all so crazy and surreal showing up to set. We'd never done anything like this. So getting into character was, I guess, kind of difficult at first because it didn't feel like real life.
Yeah,
and no. But I mean, our characters, I guess, are kind of simplistic in a way. We are just hypnotized. You kind of just stare into the distance. So it's not that difficult.
Once we actually started acting, with Leo Tipton, who plays Anna Freya, she was so impressive to us the first day we filmed with her, because she was just so nonchalant in how she kind of controlled us. And that honestly made it a lot easier for us to get into character, because we kind of felt like, oh yeah, we better follow her lead.
Yeah, Leo Tipton and Charles Halford, who play Anna Freya and John Redwright, they're kind of the bigger senior actors that have been in big movies and shows, but they were so welcoming and so warm, and yeah, we didn't rehearse at all because we didn't have time. Super quick shoot, but we just all were on the same wavelength, and we just kind of clicked.
And what about the kids, casting them and directing them? How is that process?
Yeah, it was great. I had a great casting director who found all the kids. They were the only 4 kids that I thought could do it, gave callbacks to, met, and cast. They're the best kids. They're really fun, funny, gung-ho, really got the vibe of the movie. Really, they all got along really well.
Fully just kids. Yeah. On set all the time, just running around, barging into doors that they shouldn't have been in, everywhere.
Yeah, Yeah, drinking massive amounts of Dr. Pepper.
Sounds
They love you guys. They would annoy you a lot and stuff. Yeah, but they were really fun.
Any questions from our audience? Yeah, right there in the middle.
So there appears to be a slight contrast between Petal and Jody, and then Hazel and Alice. So what's the difference? There's only a couple years difference, but the younger group has more, childish kind of invention, and then you can tell this slight age difference. How was it working with that difference and making them work together?
Yeah, you want to tell it? Okay, Andrea has a good story with that.
Well, there were many a times where all of the kids were crushing on each other simultaneously, and we got all the drama throughout the whole time. Like, oh, like, did he look at me that way? Like, throughout the whole experience. I don't have a specific story, I guess, but.
The kids are like, the older kids were 10, basically, and then, Jody was 7 and Petal was 8. The older kids, they were kind of the leaders, Jody looked up to Hazel, and then Lorelai, who played Petal, she was kind of doing her own thing. But I don't know, I tried to write 4 individual characters who all got their big moments and who all had their individual things. But I guess the younger the kid, the more fantastical they were, I guess, because it just makes sense, And the older kids are more like I don't know, they have the plan and stuff. Yeah.
Go ahead.
The blue kid with the trident.
Yes. So that kid. So we shot at the location we shot at. That was called Hall of Fortunes. The movie was called Boxcar Studios. It's this artist. It actually shut down as this artist warehouse in Salt Lake where artists live and work. That kid lived there. He just lived there. And he was sort of walking around. I was like, we should put him in the movie. We put him in the movie. And I was like, what could he be? What could he be? And I was like, he could be like the jester, jester guard, goblin jester of the Hall of Fortunes. So that's kind of what he is. He's literally like the kind of the jester, guard, goblin of Hall of Fortunes. But also he's meant to be kind of like one of those characters in the cantina in the first Star Wars. It's like a brief shot of this weird character that you have no context of, but you're like, who is this guy? What does he do? He does something. He's very specific. So the idea is also just to make you think as an audience, what is this kid? Why is he there? Who is he? Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of a 2-part question. One is there an emotional underpinning to that scene where they all kind of talk about how they each don't have a dad? And then the second part of my question is, what were your inspirations for the look, sound, and story of the movie?
Yeah, the kind of the goal. A big part of the movie, the inception of the writing of the script was basically trying to create a story about how children from fractured households can still have a fantastical, whimsical childhood. And so I thought, since they all sort of have their own different versions of grief, they kind of bond together like that. It's something big and a big part of my life. So, and I briefly touch on it in Riddle because I feel like that's sort of the more of the childhood mindset is it's not something that they're going to delve into and really talk about. It's more of oh yeah, you have this, so do I. Okay, I guess we can relate to each other a little now. So yeah, it's sort of it's in there as sort of almost in subtext, but not. And then the inspirations for the sound.
Look, sound, and story. Yeah.
Look, sound, and story. Okay, so yeah, the kind of look, sound, and story. I wanted to do. I was very inspired by Miyazaki, 70s, 60s forgotten live-action Disney movies, and then what else? The original Dragon Ball show. What else? Ken Loach's Blackjack. Treasure Island. I kind of wanted to make my version of like Treasure Island, modern Treasure Island. The sound, yeah, Zelda for sound effects. There's a lot of dungeon synth music, so I wanted to have like a medieval fantasy vibe. And then yeah, what else? I don't know. Oh, there's also a board game called Enchanted Forest. It's like this old board game. It's really beautiful. I don't know if anyone knows about it. Yeah. Anything to add, guys?
All right, we've got time for maybe 2 more quick questions. So you go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah. All right, you first, and then you last. Go ahead.
Did you like when they went in the dance on stage? Did you like choreograph that for them, or did you just let them like improv?
Yeah. The question was, did I choreograph the dance scene? I wanted to, but I like didn't have time to do it. I did a video of myself doing some moves and showed them, but then we never choreographed it. I kind of the only move that I like told Jody to do was the hip dance, but then the rest was like improvised. Yeah. I was sort of, we were just rolling, and I was like, pedal, like drag him around on his knees, drag around Jody, and then he did, and then they just improv. Then we did a few takes, 2 in slow motion, and I was like, just go, just do your thing, just go crazy. So yeah, it was pretty crazy.
All right, go ahead.
Cool. I asked.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. As for everyone handling props, like, were the kids taught to handle the dirt bikes, or did they come in knowing dirt bike experience, knowing paintball gun experience? When you handle guns in the actual movie, was there training behind that, or just in that sense?
Cool. Yeah. So Alice, we paid for dirt bike lessons for Alice that she took in LA. Hazel, he knew how to ride. Jody knew how to ride. But the opening sequence were stunt kids, these really talented stunt kid riders that my cinematographer and I, we just went out for like one day, just me and him, and filmed these kids riding well with the ball cloths on. The paintball guns, we had one moment where we were at the production office, and I took them out and we shot paintball guns together, and then yeah, so a little bit. Yeah, could have been more. Yeah.
So we do have to end it there. I'm sure Weston would love to talk to you guys outside the theater. We just do have a quick turnaround, but let's thank Weston and Andrea and Rachel for being here. Thanks so much for sticking around. Have a great night.